Thank you for the opportunity to be here today. My name is Frank Grady. I live here in Gainesville, but I own some family property over in the Florida Panhandle. And I'm the managing member of Gaskin Side Camp LLC. I'm here representing them today, and I'm representing the Forest Landowners Association, a national association of forestry people such as myself, family landowners. Our four members are fourth generation owners of a timber property that's been in our family for over 100 years. The things I want to accomplish today is have you to support the Disaster Reforestation Act that's been introduced by Representative Buddy Carter and Representative Terry Sewell, Carter of Georgia, Sewell of Alabama. The other thing, as mentioned by the cattlemen, I'd not heard it before, is a strike team for these type of disasters. I lived through this disaster, and I can tell you it's very much needed. It's not fair to your current FSA, NRCS, USDA employees to be overwhelmed by this type of disaster. There needs to be some strike teams. And the other thing, I would like to thank you for the timber block grant money that was provided by Congress, came through USDA, and provided to Florida, Georgia, and Alabama by Sonny Perdue. It was very helpful and helped us to recover. I'd like to enter into the record, if I could, this magazine that has this handsome guy on the cover. And as Forest Landowners, May and June of 2021, that can tell the story better than I can. It's our story of our family property and how we recovered. I'd like to tell you, on October of 18, Hurricane Michael hit Mexico Beach and Tyndall Air Force Base, which Congress is currently rebuilding Tyndall Air Force Base, and I appreciate that. When it hit, all the national news showed how Mexico Beach was flattened. There was nothing there. What they didn't show you was my 460 acres of 30-year-old pine timber 20 miles inland from Mexico Beach. We lost 80% of it after managing and being stewards of that property for over 100 years. This particular timber was 30 years old and had already been contracted to be thinned. And let me tell you a couple of things that you probably don't realize in one of these disasters where a strike team would help. Immediately, all logging crews were under tremendous pressure to perform. Everybody needed salvage. There weren't enough loggers to go around. It took me 5 or 6 calls to get a timber cruise done on my property from a forester who was able to come do a timber cruise that verified that we lost 80% of 30-year-old timber. Which we were not able to write off. That's why I encourage you to support the Disaster Reforestation Act. That's a 30-year investment gone in a matter of just 2 or 3 hours. It had disappeared. The other thing is I had already contracted for some of this timber to be sold. And let me tell you what happens when you flood the market with salvage timber. Pulpwood was contracted at $18 a ton, we got 6. Saw timber was contracted at $28 a ton, we got 9. The local paper mill in Panama City, Florida was flooded with salt water and was down for 2 months. So there's a lot that goes on besides just we had a 2-hour disaster. You know, U.S. Forest Service sends people to fires out west for weeks at a time. This happened in a couple hours. You know, it wasn't over with. I will tell you that somebody mentioned EFRP. It was not a beneficial program for us. I was not able to even file an EFRP application until August of 19, even though the hurricane had been October of 18, about 10 months later. But in 3.5 years, we have recovered through some programs such as EQIP, had some great people that helped me through NRCS with EQIP, and I have replanted in 3.5 years 560 acres of pines, and we're waiting on the next 30 years now to have some revenue. 15 years possible.
Thank you, Mr. Grady.
Thank you. I do want to say I do have some neighbors that have not yet recovered at all. So I appreciate it, and I would like to present this.